Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning, everybody. It is the 7th December here, Monday. Market's down just a little bit. Let's go straight into the charts here. Volume profile. Okay, so the E-mini here on Friday. Remember, non-farms payroll comes out worse than expected. Pretty bad numbers. Market rallies anyways. And it wasn't just like a market rally. It was a pretty extreme one, getting 30 points up. I mean, we thought that that was a pretty ugly dip. And then, whoop, new highs. Now, all that said, here on the Monday, they are retracing that. That may have just been like some gamma melt up. I would not read too much into the closing price on Friday. This sort of thing happens all the time. Don't be fooled by those. But we are lower. But then again, now that we are lower, that doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot either. We got a bunch of news expected coming out here. We'll talk about in a little bit. Treasury retracing the move from Friday as well, but kind of holding right there. So this might be a good spot to try and take it short. We'll see. And I'm seeing a lot of volume trading over there right now. Oil just coming off of its Friday highs after the OPEC meeting last week. Gold still going nowhere. Copper down just a little bit off of, just everything kind of going down. And then we'll come over here, look at the dollar. A little bit of dollar strength, in fact. Well, off of the lows and even kind of taking new highs, which are kind of curious. I'll come back over to here. We do have a bunch of bill auctions today. But in terms of news, we got kind of three things still going on, and that is Brexit, stimulus, and vaccines. All right. So on the Brexit front, we thought that Brexit was going to be like done and over with last week, but apparently they're still fighting it out. And even though they're trying to talk very hopeful, a lot of the politicians are wondering, and they're all saying it's 50-50 and nobody knows what's going to happen, but that's where Brexit is at. And I think that is part of why the market is down a little bit here this morning. But also a vaccine approval is apparently imminent. I'm expecting that it will be this week that we will get a vaccine. Also, the bipartisan group that is working on a compromise stimulus bill are expected to release the details of their stimulus bill as early as today. So even though the market is down, I find it very difficult to be short this market still. But the treasuries may actually be a better sell. But probably it might be an easier trade to take it over here in the treasury. Treasury's up pretty strong here, in fact. I wonder. Eric Klott says, hello. Hey, that's a new name. How are you? Text to speech. We'll pull that over here. Get that going today. Oh, you're not new? I'm such an asshole then, not remembered Eric's. Is that how you say it? Date is yes, you're right. It's the 7th. Sometimes I forget to change that. Let's fix that. It is the 7th. We should get like a really nice. Ooh, look at that. Okay. Ooh, this is an interesting setup here in the treasury, because oh yeah, look at that. I'm gonna take that right there. Pierre is fine. Oh, okay.
Pierrick Klotz says Pierre is fine. Also, it says Pierrick.
Okay. Yeah. So did you see that they ticked up? There was a little bit of a bid. They were iceberging there, but because there was a 5K at 20, all of the robots were selling it. Probably the robots selling it, and then when they did sell it, there was a big stack. And now here, people hitting into 19. So we're at a critical spot because this is kind of where we were Friday before that huge move down, and that's where, so a lot of people that still think in the bearish case are going to want to go short here. And sure enough, you're seeing some interesting action right where you would expect. Okay. Well, if they just clear me at 19.5 on only 1,000 contracts, that would be upsetting. Okay. So I'm gonna do this on a experimental account because normally I don't like to take multiple contracts on treasuries. But I've been trying to work out my market making skills, and I found it's pretty hard to determine if an individual price will sell. Maybe what I need to do is I just need to always put it at the price that is less likely to trade. And well, they're tilting to the downside again, but it looks like the Qs are pretty stable. Meanwhile, the E-mini, literally a 2-point range for the past like 10 minutes, which is extremely unusual for the E-mini. Maybe I'm on the wrong contract? Are we flipping over now? I am always not sure on the ES. Well, no, I think we're okay. And I mean, the liquidity does look like correct. The E-mini is pissing you off, Pierre? That is really bizarre, isn't it? That's not usual. That is extremely unusual for the E-mini, I think. The marketeer says you buy Bitcoin because of the US dollar debasement, but what do you do if the dollar bounces? Oh, by the way, we didn't look at Bitcoin. Yeah, man, They're still just kind of hanging out there. Okay, iceberg at 19. Solid bid at 18.5. UK says Barnier's claim that Frost is ready to drop a demand for annual negotiations over fishing quotas made to MEPs isn't true. Government source says the UK's position remains that the EU needs to recognize that the UK will be an independent coastal state at the end of the year. So this is interesting. What was that? Did I just see something? Maybe I'm just imagining things. It looks like neither side really willing to stick their neck out here at the moment. E-mini dropping just a tick or two, but that ends up being significant given how long they've been chilling in that range. Yeah, let's see, what was that? Little flash. That might have been my desktop thing. Should turn that off. A little desktop background I've been running because it's cool. It looks cool. Today is Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day. Oh, yes. Okay, that offer's getting pretty solid now. I think you will see that bid cancel a little bit. Only cancel a little bit, and then somebody stacked a 400 on. Yeah, they're dancing around there. 3,400 now. And then he pulls it. But nobody takes the bait on that one, huh? Well, there's plenty of liquidity to facilitate trade here, but it looks like that the market orders have trickled out. In the treasuries, at least. The E-mini, a little bit of a fall down, but only 60 contracts or so to do that. Oh, there you go. There's a tick up on 1203. And did not take much. Okay, so this is a little too easy for them to tick up at 19.5. Yeah. But they'll need a lot to go into 20. Yeah, okay. It looks like they're holding a spread here, because look, the bids and offers aren't really holding very strongly at 19 and 19.5. No wrongdoing found in COVID-19 drug production deals, as report. Trade of 8 adding a heat map plotter. Ooh, what is this? Like a level 2 heat map, perhaps? Or I'll have to look at that. Ooh, got a lot of comments on my channel last night that I need to go look at. Ooh. So I got this thread going on the futures.io forum, where I told people just to post their backtest results. And some of these guys are posting some pretty impressive results. This one's also another 1.7. So there was one. Okay, so they're trading into 20, but it's they're all holding it. Ooh, yeah, and then 2,000 stacks on top of it. That's not necessarily good for the buyers. Good morning, Ace. How are you? Oh, that reminds me. This, I need to change this. 2 and 2. Oops, that didn't work. How was your weekend? It was okay. Crash Ninja Trader there doing that. I should have just removed the other one. So what I'll do. I spent a lot of time back testing. Why the sad faces? Today is a great day. Well, hey Gary, how you been? Is Ninja Trader not gonna start back up for me? Oh no, it's working. Okay. Oh man. Oh look, there the E-mini went. That's looking pretty good. Wait, what happened to this period where we weren't going anywhere? Oh, I'm so confused now. That is not the chart that I had that before. Oh, okay. Never mind. They've popped up really fast while I crashed there. On this day, I always have a drink because it's Monday or something else. Well, they got over it was 6,000. Okay, well, let's try that again. Remove. Yeah, I'll remove that one too. So don't plan on trading that one. Inventory breakout. All these things. Okay. Workspaces. Save. So let's close this workspace. Cool. And now I will, oh wait, edit strategy. Tick replay, second, 5, okay. December 7th, Pearl Harbor. We lost a lot of good men. Yes, we're solemn because of that. Okay, that did not work. Gosh dang it. Okay, let's try this one more time. Remove. Okay, new strategy. Run it every 5 seconds. Tick replay. Oh, and the trading hours should be the Seth trading hours. Okay. Enabled. So there's apparently a heat map into the new version of Tradeovate, but the guys in chat are saying that they've loaded up the new one and they can't find it. Yeah, what happened there was when NinjaTrader crashed, it lost all of the data that it had for the last 20 minutes. It was a good jump up, though. It's a good 1 or 2 point hop. I should probably... No, you know what? I'm going to optimize that a little bit. I did a bunch of stuff this... You want to see something cool? Well, we'll do it later. We'll do it at like 7:30. But I kind of have been doing some stuff where I've been exporting the data that I get from a NinjaTrader backtest, and then try and look at, if there's certain things that might have a real sway on the outcome of it. Because normally it's like, okay, well, let's try adding this indicator and see how it makes a difference and then run it. But when it takes 20 minutes to run one backtest, as this strategy does, that kind of becomes inefficient. So what I've been doing instead is exporting it out to an Excel spreadsheet and then importing that Excel spreadsheet into R, and then, outputting the results of all of these indicators from the thing, and then looking at the distributions to see if there's any kind of strong pattern to it. Usually, though, there's not. Strangely enough. It's like you might be able to get like 5 more trades to be profitable than like you might be able to filter out so that you get 5 more trades that are profitable, but the number of trades overall that you take is so much less that you make less money. It's not worth it. Now this guy here is... Okay, so they did take 20 offer as well. Now, interesting, 5,000 traded at 20, but 5,000 traded at 20 half, so that could just be the market maker again. Okay. So they take 19 half with almost nothing. Ooh, ooh. Oh, look at that. 5-year just ticks down 27 and a quarter to only 600, 700 contracts. And now we're back down to the bottom. 19 not really offering out very strong though. But we may, we have a good spot in line. I'm feeling good about our chances here. Okay. I can guarantee you will learn a lot if you learn here that Forex trading channel is really useless. Oh, Forex. Bum, 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 bum. 2 algos, it's less stress, says Pickles. I mean, he's not wrong. Wow, now 9,000 at 20. So they're really clamping down on it there, huh? Well, I have such a nice spot. I think I should stick with my original plan, but I'm kind of thinking I should pull it down to 17.5. For all I know, though, they're not going to bust 18.5 and they'll go right back up to the highs again. That's totally possible. In fact, probably likely given the trend and everything. I shouldn't say that because in every backtesting result that I've ever looked at, the trend doesn't seem to matter. Although I did find, one thing I did this weekend was maybe you should try looking at this, Ace. It's called R squared is the indicator. They have it in a Ninja Trader. And R squared is basically a measure of like how well does the current data set predict the next point. So like if you're having like a straight trend that is almost like a perfect line, then you have an R squared value that's really, really high. Whereas if it's kind of going flat and it's all over the place, then you get an R squared value that's really, really low. And so it's an interesting way of looking at, because most of the time we just look at trend in terms of, okay, what direction is it going overall? Or how strong is the trend? Like how far did it go compared to the previous trends? But this is a measure of just how consistent that trend is. And I tried it on a couple of strategies and it really helped. So I'm thinking, because of what we're doing in ACE's strategies does involve trend, that maybe that indicator would help us refine our setup a little bit. I haven't tried to go and back test it yet. I think I'm going to go because I have a kind of an optimized version where I wait for a large enough divergence first, and that seemed to work better because the base strategy that I get out of it is profitable, but only just barely. But now I'm thinking I should go back to the original one that has the most, gives you the most trades, and then add the R squared on top of that and see what happens. Okay, so they filled me at 18.5, but not too strong. Still a lot at 20, huh? Well, they filled me at 18.5, but it wasn't incredibly... Now I'm thinking like I could add again at 19.5 or 20. I'm a little weary about that 20 though. Like the issue that I have here, I think like I have a good position here with it being at 20, and I can like, you know, like I can stop out after it if I need to, right? But I don't think I want to add risk ahead of that one, because if that doesn't hold, then it's going to be bad, right? I think I need to reload the data on this one. Oh, why won't it let me do that? The reload historical data option on this chart is blanked out. Oh, maybe it won't let me do that because I have a strategy running on it. So if I disable it, no. That's odd. What if I restart NinjaTrader? Trying to look at ZB or ZN, but neither chart is moving. Do I have the right contract? 12? No, you should be on 321. Okay, 19 again. Yeah. The treasuries, you want to, it's easy to remember on the treasuries. Last Friday of the month is when you want to flip. That's the first call is going to be like the last day of the month, essentially, that you're going to flip over. But if basically by the Friday, the volume starts turning over. So in this case, everybody moved over last Monday. There we go. When I reload it, it fixes it. It reloaded the data on the reload, so that's good enough for me. Now I can enable it again. It's kind of in a spot where it would maybe think about taking a trade, but it's not. It's not getting a trigger. Okay. I spent way too much time replying to that thread, but I'm really excited that people are responding to it. NASDAQ Phileas California Water Index Futures. Oh, let's trade those, guys. Price discovery and transparency. Oh, no, wait, that's from NASDAQ. Oh, we can't trade that then. Oh, well. Water indexes. Well, we can follow it, can't we? Don't you think that would be kind of, well, I don't know about fun, but maybe ironic for me to trade like like carbon futures or water futures. It trades on the CME. Let's look. Let's see if we get on CME group and let's see if we can find some contracts for that stuff, because I know that there was like more recent stuff for it. Agriculture Energy Equity Index. I don't even know where you would look. Contract H2O, is it really? Oh, H2O, not H20. Okay, there it is. Yeah, NQHO. Oh, product code H2O. Contract unit. I know a guy who lost 7. Oh, wow, really? How did he get the 7 figures in the first place, though? That's what I want to know. Can I tell you, this is something that I find really interesting, and that I find people in the trading world don't talk about, or it's like they pretend it doesn't exist. But you'll see people, they'll trade and they'll be extremely successful for a time, and then whatever the edge was that they were working on stops working and they lose a bunch of money. And then there's kind of a question about how much of it do you lose before you stop, as to whether or not you're able to continue going. I love water delivery day. They fill up my pool with the tears of Californians in a drought, right? Well, if there's really is a civil war, I think that water futures is going to be the place to be, right? All right, let's see if well, at first I need to come in and I'll just I'll download instruments if it'll let me here. I'll just do CME features download. Okay. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to type H2. Oh, no. No. Do I need something special? Because I have the CME bundle. Maybe it's traded on one of the sub exchanges, and that's why I need to find what I need to do. Yeah. Yeah, or where does it actually trade? Full contract specs, maybe? CME Globex. Quote vendor symbols listings. Oh, you say this today is the first day. So maybe Rhythmic just doesn't have it in there yet. Yeah, I getcha. Darn. But the Bitcoin futures, I found it the first day. You think I'm looking up the product code right though? That it should just be under CME, right? Well, here's a vendor's product listing. Download XLS file. Of course, Rhythmic isn't on this list. That's funny that CQG is, but not. Oh. Is this everything? Interest rates, futures. So where do water futures fit under? Agricultural. Oh, here we go. There you go. No, I don't see anything about water there. It's not an interest rate future, right? There's California carbon allowance. Wait, maybe I can just search for California. Yeah. Well, it's not even, I don't even know if it's even in this spreadsheet. That's funny. Okay. Still rotating around 19. Treasury. Oh, is this still is trying along? I didn't see that. Okay, 19 half is bid. A few pulled at 20, but not really. Not significant. Oh, really? You've joined YouTube Premium and you can listen to YouTube without ads. That's cool. You know what is worse is when you're playing music. When you're playing music on YouTube and it puts an ad halfway through the song. Oh, that is so dumb, right? Need to adjust the audio settings here a little bit, don't I? You get more ads than on the radio watching it on YouTube. You might be right. Okay, here's the open. So they're willing to eat into it a little bit, but it's not. The E-mini, though, on the open so far looks bullish. You don't enjoy music enough to give money to YouTube. That's funny. Looks like they're going to mess around a little bit. Now, I wonder, how many times have we seen here? Oh, you're going short, huh? Okay, listen. He did a good job. I will follow Gary on this one, because he is actually calling live trades out on futures, and I think that deserves watching it. So we'll put one on there for him to see how it goes. I'm holding his 16 tick stop, though. No, I don't need to respond to that. Anyways, I was thinking, how many times have we seen it where on the open they sell it? Almost every time they sell it on the open. These past, like, I want to say 3 or 4 weeks now. It's almost been a month of this. And then eventually they dig it out, and it's like crazy positive on the day. Kodak is up 70%. Wait, what? Oh, okay, but it's 1278. That's, I don't know. It was down pretty hard after all that nonsense, right? Yeah. I'm skeptical about how long that lasts. Like, now that's interesting. Mary Catherine, I'm making a PowerPoint for women who want to start trading. Any suggestions? So the interesting thing is with women in trading is that supposedly let's not say supposedly, there is some research to suggest that women can be better at it. But if you were trying to get them interested in it, I don't know how you would do that. You wouldn't having trouble logging it. I think that almost all our regulars, Gary was using interactive brokers at one point, wasn't he? I think that the guys that I knew that were on that one, no. Igor was using interactive brokers, but I'm pretty sure that he moved off of that one. Okay. So a little hop up there, but not, still kind of just stuck there. I am seeing that the NASDAQ is taken off and the E-mini is not. So I'm going to manage just a little bit because I'm thinking I might, if they bunch through that, I might want to take it. So there you go. They are having a technical issue, huh? That's rare for interactive brokers. I don't think that's the first time that I've heard about an issue from them, but I would say they're pretty not common for sure. That will be the new pump. Ooh, what's this? Chad program. This is Capital Crunch. Congress often faces an avalanche of activity in December as lawmakers try to wrap up for the year, and the challenges this year are particularly acute. And show this thread. Talks go on behind the scenes about a potential coronavirus relief package. We truly don't know the size of the final product, but we keep hearing that the bipartisan baseline will be a little more than $900 billion. But there are still major sticking points over liability protections and money for state and local governments. So the same problems that they've been arguing about for half of a year. And it appears the only way to advance any sort of coronavirus bill will be to latch it to the big $1.4 trillion omnibus spending bill, which leaders and appropriators have been working on for weeks. But that's far from settled too. Issues remain regarding migrant detention policy and money for the wall. Frankly, it's going to take until at least early next week to get a coronavirus bill which can gel, let alone the bill to avoid a government shutdown on December 11th. So expect market lawmakers to craft a short-term 1-week interim spending bill to keep the government open past Friday night. That's Friday? Okay, understand. Understood. This bill will simply renew all funding at existing levels. That said, we do expect the House and Senate to move the final version of the defense bill early this week. President Trump is threatening to veto the package. He opposes a provision in the bill to drop the names of military bases named after Confederates. Is that really why he's going to stop it? Well, then, that's Section 230, right? Moreover, the president re-upped his veto threat after lawmakers didn't include a provision in the bill to terminate Section 230. That's shorthand for a portion of the telecommunications policy which grants big tech firms liability protections. Any potential override attempt would likely have to come next week, depending on how fast Congress can approve the new bill and if the president vetoes the bill quickly and returns it to Capitol Hill. Oh, that might actually happen. I actually think that Congress might try and override him on that one. We'll see. What this means is that lawmakers hope for a 1-week sprint. They are now staring at a 2-week sprint. Expect a lot of machinations behind the scenes this week. This week will likely be a prelude to the true crunch week next week. Okay, cool. And that means that we get tons of volatility in the meantime off of any headline that has anything to do with it, huh? Well, the E-mini going sideways for the first 10 minutes, I'm kind of starting to feel like a short sounds like a good idea. Okay, there's a touch on some lows there. Well, they bounce back off that way too hard. And it took my strategy took its long. So we'll see. So it was waiting for an impulse down here below its thing, and then it got it. So when it crossed the line, it went long. So we'll see how it works out. Stocks not representing this economy, E-mini not representing stocks. Yeah. Okay, back to the squats. Let's see if there's anything else new here. No, okay. The Street says stocks fluctuate as investors await the details of a coronavirus relief package from Congress. Well, if that's why it's not going anywhere, then I don't think that, based off of what Chad Paragram has just said, I don't think that we're going to get anything significant today. I suppose they might still release the details of the package. Don't blame working class people for voting to leave the European Union. Blame the party that betrayed them on Brexit. You know, that's an interesting thought, Vlad. Globalism doesn't necessarily have to mean that the working class gets screwed. It's just that has been the case because the politicians take it that way. And if the politicians had crafted their globalist policy more towards the concerns of the people in their local areas, then they wouldn't be having the problems with it that they've been having. And I think that the political, battle over that sort of stuff is only going to become stronger and stronger going into the future. Like, I think some people have this idea that like, oh, Trumpism has been defeated and that'll be, but I think it's just going to get worse. Okay. So they're coming up to the high end of the range here. A little bit of absorption at 92. You say Brexit is a lose-lose day. Yeah, I think that's a good... I think you're totally right, Pierre. I agree with you. They lose either way, don't they? But this is kind of where I feel like a European Union may be a good idea, yeah. The way that it's implemented right now, I feel like that countries gave up a little bit too much of their autonomy to the European Union. Like, considering the amount of representation that people actually get in the EU and everything else about it, I feel like that countries gave up too much. Pierre says he agrees. I mean, let's be honest. They want it to be like the United States, right? But the Europe is not like the United States. That the interests of individual countries in Europe are less aligned than the interests of states in the United States. And even then, the interests of states in the United States are starting to diverge too. And something might need to be done about that, because if coastal states push their power too much and it really continues to hurt the people in the Midwest, that they're not going to take it forever. Luckily, the way the electoral college is and everything else, I think it keeps them in the game, as long as one side just doesn't give up. Yeah, 72 million voted for Trump. Yeah, and you have to consider how controversial Donald Trump is. Yeah, no federalism there, and countries have too much history. There you go. You know, what's going to happen when you get a run-of-the-mill politician who is kind of a part of the establishment, is all super smart and says all the right things and is super cleaned up and starts pushing the same policies that Donald Trump was? I don't think that the same, because the issue I think that the left has right now is that their wins as of late have been off of the back of a personality argument and not a policy argument. So if it comes back and it turns into a policy argument again, I think they're going to get smashed. Because most working class people are not happy with the way that the globalist policies have been going. And they're not happy with the way China's going either. But that's changing. I think the establishment is with them on the China thing. I don't know, guys. I think my algorithm is going to win here. I think one of the main problems of the EU is that they tried to bring in countries too quickly. They needed more alignment. Well, the thing is that the UK is the only one that has left. They had the most, to lose. Like the UK used to be a huge economic power and a super strong and important currency and everything else like that. And putting them into the EU really steps them down a notch, right? And then the next most powerful guys that you're going to have are France and Germany, and they're all 100% on board. The rest of them are all pretty small, so I don't know how else you would have done it. Pierre is shorting ES, okay. The open borders, a bridge too far. Well, yeah, now that's the other thing, is if Joe Biden really does everything that he has said that he's going to do on the border, then, oh boy, look out. Israel, the first to bust and crash the second wave, is now seeing an embryo of a third wave, says the market here. Hoy. Should we talk about that coronavirus? We haven't talked about the coronavirus today, guys. This Rick did you guys watch the argument between Rick Santelli and what's his bucket? Pierre says close the short. No, if Gary says to close the short, then I'll close the short. But I'm taking it to track what Gary told me. Which coronavirus? I tell you what, it's like anytime that I'm feeling like hopeful about the coronavirus, like, okay, we've got a vaccine and like we already have therapeutic treatments that work, and this shouldn't be a problem anymore. Like, yeah, there'll be a lot of people in the hospital, but we can handle it because we got treatments and stuff, right? And then somebody else will come out and say something that isn't proven or anything like that, but is a concern, and it's a valid concern. What if the vaccine doesn't really help because the coronavirus is mutated too much? Like, these are the things, right? Oh, there's a lot of talk, just on the economic front. I think there's a lot of discussion about this I'm seeing from analysts now. And I think that they have a really good take that you will see, that everybody's going to be really happy about a vaccine and everything, and there would be like an initial pop. But then after that, then the issue is going to be, do they have enough of the vaccine? Who's getting it? Is it making a difference? Was it fast enough? And then it really is like, well, it is too late. Like, we're going to suffer through the whole winter, and then by the time that the vaccine is like actually like getting around, it'll be summer. It won't be as big of an issue. It'll be too late. And so will the market have to price in that? There's going to be a COVID-21. Don't get your hopes up. Okay. Oh, man. Okay, so just to warn you, when my trading signal takes a trade, there's going to be a tendency for there to be a lot of fight in that area. So I'm just going to wait it out and see what happens, because I don't really know. I still kind of think that my algorithm is going to win in the end, but it's only like a 55% chance. Well, even then, actually 40% chance that it actually hits its target. So, and I must say that even the cumulative delta is very much buy, but the market has not really gone anywhere yet. Okay, we're getting a little bit of a support there at 36.88 and a quarter. Big order holding it at the moment. Are people going to take it? Well, that's another question, is how many people. I totally understand the concern with the vaccine, because an RNA vaccine is like a new thing. I don't think that there should really be any problems with it, but you know that what's going to happen is any time that there's even one case of like a severely adverse effect from it, that people are going to make a big deal out of it. Okay, so they traded through the 20 now. Do you see they traded into 20 half, and there was a lot of contracts too? So now we can decide if we want to scratch it out or what. Right now, the E-mini is threatening on the downside, and I think that's why the treasuries are kind of headed up. And the momentum has been up on the treasuries this whole time, so. Also, the balance area being at 20 half above our entry is not a good thing. Maybe I should have kept the thing that would have hit into the 20 if it went, because I wasn't paying attention. I also feel really bad, like going back to the Rick Santelli thing though. I feel really bad for these restaurants. One of the things that bothers me is that it's like they're just not allowed to be open at all, it seems like. Because I tell you what, here in Utah, pretty much every restaurant went over to you can pick up. And I think that they're making more money than they did before the pandemic. I tell you what, that Chick-fil-A down the street, not down the street, it's actually quite a ways away. But there's a Chick-fil-A on the other side of town, and it is always packed. There is always like 30 cars in line there. They've got like 2 lanes, and it's crazy. I think they would have built that Chick-fil-A differently if they had known. And they are definitely making, it used to be that you could just go through the drive-through at any time, or you'd go in and there was just an average number of people, but now it is always packed. Chick-fil-A would be packed during oh no, guys, there's a nuclear war, better go get our Chick-fil-A before it's over. You know what it is for me? It's those lemonade, those frosted lemonades. Okay, yeah, so this is a loser. In fact, let's just and Trump rallies. But I really sympathize with Rick Santelli's side of the argument, because I don't understand how Walmart is able to do basically whatever they want. Like, they have somebody to check to make sure that you have a mask on, but there's so many people going through the Walmart. You can't tell me that there's not a good chance of catching it at Walmart, you know? Shouldn't there be a limit on how many people can go through the store before it gets like cleaned out, you know? Like, maybe they need to have like a 30-minute run through, you get in, and then they need to sanitize it again. I don't know. Like, I'm just not sold on that one. When the Great American Buffalo gets scared, he pile into big box retail store to spread more sickness. There you go. Well, I mean, you know, like, maybe it's safe. Like, the thing is I don't really think we have the data to say how safe is X and how not safe is Y. You know, they're kind of making decisions based off of some information, but we don't really know, right? But you know that the reason that you can shop at Walmart and not at the big restaurants is because Walmart has the power, right? Everybody knows it. And this is where I feel like the people that making the other side of the argument aren't acknowledging. They just kind of hear somebody say, oh, well, like, maybe this isn't safe, and maybe we can have some ideas for the restaurants, the small businesses. And then they just immediately go, oh no, you're a COVID denier. This hasn't been working out very well for you. Rick has it. So it just completely misconstrued his argument. And then you go on Twitter, nobody's actually arguing the point. They just don't like Rick Santelli because he birthed the Tea Party movement. And then you look at the people that do like his argument, and they're all saying, see, he's calling out the COVID scam. And it's like, that's not what he did, though. Okay, so that turned back up hard. You say ES is disconnected. It seems to me that the ES is lagging the NQ considerably, though, which is interesting because normally it's like we'll move up and it's like the NQ is dragging us along, and that's when I see the ES lagging. But here it's like the ES is lagging in the range. Okay, so that trade that we took there didn't work out, but we still have the robot is still in. Can we even see how far back it was? Yeah. The robot is still in from back here. Maybe I should turn on the, where is it? The chart trader. Or actually, we'll turn it on, but have the little thing hidden so that you guys can see where it's. Who would call me from Maryland at 8 o'clock in the morning? We need a tweet from Trump to move. I don't think it works that way anymore, Pierre. we're gonna have to rely on Joe Biden now. Joe Biden, can you know? Okay, remember the other day when we were saying Pelosi, save us? Like we need a stimulus deal. Help us out here, right? And that was really crazy to be begging Nancy Pelosi to save the market. But pretty soon it's going to be like, Joe Biden needs to get on television and read from the teleprompter, and then the markets will be saved. That will be the crazy day, right? I'm sure it's going to happen too, right? It's like, well, Joe Biden's coronavirus press conference today really gave the markets some encouragement and confidence, and so we moved to new all-time highs. What about I am your president-elect Biden? No, I don't think that's going to happen. When is the date? When is the date that the electors meet? December 14th. So they have like a court case, and I think that the Supreme Court is going to hear it before the 14th. But I'm not that hopeful. Pierre says the 13th. I'm just reading this CR. That was the first thing that Google came up with was 14th. So yeah, a couple of people saying 14th. So I don't know. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's definitely the 14th. How does it let's see here. We'll do it ticks. Okay. Well, they had made a good run and right back to the open. Well, just going to come back. It's going to plummet hard. And then Gary's going to be like, you should have just had a wider stop, Seth. Okay, so I'm getting a what do we call it? I don't even know. There's a chart pattern that has been performing really well lately that we're getting in the E-mini that says buy. I wouldn't read too much into it because I highly doubt that those continue to perform so well, but yeah, this ain't gonna work, guys. Oh, and now CNN and MSNBC will care about the stock market as an endorsement of the president. Yeah, probably. Or if it goes badly, they'll say, well, it's Trump's economy, not Joe Biden's. And then we get to have this argument all over again. The same one that we've been having for the past 4 years about whether the stock market is a result of the president or not. Although, honestly, if it goes down, it has nothing to do with Joe Biden right now, right? Yet. Once he's inaugurated, and if he puts in a couple of, business regulations that hurt the market, then yeah. I'm not liking the look of this. Well, I haven't taken like my own kind of based on feel. Does Seth think the E-mini is going up or down? But I am noticing just from my own analysis here that although it has been a very tight open, the positioning remains bullish. The federal judge rejects Michigan Republicans' effort to decertify election results. Mnuchin says the G7 discussed cryptocurrencies, I'm sure. Well, all of these countries are talking about cryptocurrencies. Do you think it's because it's just a really useful technology and they need to implement it in there? Or do you think it's because they're starting to be a little bit concerned about how popular Bitcoin is getting? Although, even though Bitcoin's here at like close to all-time highs, you're actually not seeing that much public attention given to it. Yeah, I haven't been able to get this to cooperate, so I'm just going to get that out. I was hoping to scratch the trade from before that, but 20.5 is too high. I kind of wonder now what's the drive, what's the demand in the treasury coming from? Although it's not like outright. Well, when they busted through the 20, and it was market orders. I'm unsure. I guess that just means that I should be staying out of the treasury for now. E-mini so slow. Yeah, look at that. I could have scratched it at break even. Should have done that. Oh well. I think, though, that my issue was more like this. Oh, Seth, you should stay out of treasuries. Oh, let's put a bid in. Yeah, help it. A little bit of buying there in the evening. Oh, that doesn't look too bad. That might go up and break a new regular session high. Let's see. One point away from my daily target. Man, this is slow. Yeah, it is. But you know what? I would get used to it. So I'm noticing Futures Trader 71 coming in there and was mentioning, that the E-mini is trading like it's a holiday today. So let's go and look at the sectors. Information technology outperforming. Healthcare. Oh, that's the sector breakdown. That's not how well it's doing today. I didn't know healthcare was the second largest one. Well, anyways, here it is. It's just on the edge. Come on. Come on. You can do it. Oh, don't tick down. Don't teach me to sweet talk the indexes, right? Oh, he's on a CFD. Don't trade CFDs. Well, okay, whatever. Do what you want. Oh, oh, Bezinga says Robinhood is now operational. Oh, they were down before, right? I didn't see anything about that on Twitter. I didn't see much news about it. I mean, if it was down, then I need to go and gloat to all of the Robinhood TikTokers, right? Oh my gosh. So there was this one TikToker. They're not like an informational content TikToker, but they just post stuff about stocks that's kind of funny. And then they were talking about Discords. And I found out which Discord they were looking at. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to follow this person anymore. It wasn't the really, really bad one. It wasn't the really, really bad one, like the ones that are like outright scams. But it was one that I've had problems with in the past and that I would not recommend visiting. And I was horrified. Like, how do I explain to them how bad that Discord? And I'll just let them lose their money, whatever. I've gotten to this point. Can I tell you? Oh, here's my story today. Story time. I'm on Reddit, okay? And this guy makes this post on Reddit. He's like, how come everybody doesn't just do the combine and pass the combine? Like, you only need to make 1 or 2 points a day and then you'll pass the combine. And I'm like, well, being that consistent for a month to hit that profit target is a lot more difficult than it seems. And he got really mad about that. He was like, no, you all must be stupid. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I've spoken to hundreds of people that have taken combines. I've spoken to lots of people that have taken combines, passed them, and then blown the account, and then passed them again 6 times over. There's definitely some people out there that know more about the combines than me, but especially now lately, but when this started, I was one of the more knowledgeable people on it. Okay. I've spoken to all these people, and you're telling me, oh, they're all just stupid, and everybody should be able to do this. And you, this person that's clearly has never actually traded futures before, is smarter than all of them? Like, what? And he raged. He had already deleted the thread, so I knew that I was just talking to him, but he got so effing mad. Oh my God. Wait, what was it that he said? Let me go back and find it. I was so shocked what he wrote. I mean, I was kind of being an asshole, but man, it was crazy. Okay, I'm tired of being nice here. You're an effing idiot, and stop replying to this. I've deleted the post and everything. I'm sick of hearing your stupid butt mouth. You're a effing loser. You couldn't make it for work yourself, so you're in a typical Reddit troll fashion to have to come along and throw salt on everybody else to justify why it is that you're an effing loser that can't get a few points every day on a consistent basis. Shut the F up and leave me alone. Is that clear enough, mother effer? Man, I was just like, okay, clearly I won this argument, but I mean, it's not necessarily untrue, right? I tried the Combine a bunch of times, and I've actually had some performance since I gave up on them that would have passed. I think I've done it 3 times now. But probably even more than that if I sized up. But I realized that it was more beneficial for me to trade my own account, so I stopped trading it. Yeah. Because I realized that it really wasn't as good of a value as it appears. I think you might need a nap, right? Well, the thing that was funny is that his name was, well, I shouldn't tell you what his name was, but his name was basically said that he was a new trader. So I'm like, okay, so everybody else that's done this is an idiot, and you, who are apparently new at this thing, will pass it because they're all just dumb. Probably not. Probably the probability here is that you just have absolutely no clue what you're talking about or getting into. Oh, and I got that a bunch of, oh, you know what was the other one that was funny? There's a little bit of squawk coming in. So another one that was funny was there was a guy on a Facebook group, and he was promoting a strategy where you take a stop 4 times larger than your target. So it was risking 16 ticks to make 4. For real. Like, don't get me wrong, I know that you can have a positive expectancy with a setup like that. But if you're a retail trader and you're trading it with 1 contract, yeah, it's not going to work out. The commission's going to eat you alive, and you're going to get slippage. And not only that, but you probably don't actually have an edge, because how are you going to have an edge when the natural noise of the market is so much larger than is basically equal to your stop? Like, you're going to get stopped out all the time, unless you're only in for a short moment. Like aces, it works because it's such a short trade, I guess. But even then, there's kind of things about it that we avoid volatility for it and everything, right? And it's it's not an R less than 1, right? Just know, if your stop is less than 16, the chances of you getting stopped out on that current run is greater than 15%, right? And that's what you would have to hit. You would have to, that would have to happen less than 15% for that strategy to be profitable, right? And he didn't even get this. I was like, oh, here's the range. How are you going to get the stop to hold more than 85% of the time when the average move is more than that? And he never said anything about it. So then somebody else came in, and they're like, oh, I've been watching him, this guy on YouTube, the other guy, and it's been really useful. I'm like, okay, so you went and messaged your friend to come in and give you backup support. so that you can push your channel or your system or whatever it is. And he just kept going, and he completely ignored the argument. That was the thing that was so funny, was that it was like, this is what the harmonic rotation is. Like, do you not understand why that's a problem for this kind of a strategy, right? But and he was like, well, maybe you just don't understand expectancy. Oops, sorry. Maybe you just don't understand expectancy. And I'm like, well, I have a whole video about expectancy that's 20 minutes long if you really want to learn more about it. And he was like, oh, I see. You're promoting a YouTube channel. Well, that's enough. Wait, we all know what's going on here. And I'm like, you were promoting a YouTube channel first. What the fuck? What the fuck? I was like so flabbergasted. It's like, does anybody actually buy this bullshit? But then I looked at it and I was like, I don't think anybody's actually reading this thread anymore. But I was so projecting, right? Oh man, it makes me so mad, because here's the thing. Like just anytime that I talk about this sort of stuff, just think about it within this context, because this is what's going on in my head, right? I started this channel as like a video journal so that I could rewatch my trading, because it was easier to put it on YouTube than it was to save them all on my machine and like have huge hard drives and stuff. And then people subscribed, so I just like went with it. And then there was the Bitcoin thing, so I started going live, and you guys just keep coming back, and you're so great. And I got so much out of the community that then it turned into, oh, well, I should keep doing everything I can to grow the channel because the community is so useful. And so that's why I keep doing it. The thing that helps the most is making those one-off videos, right? But then I see all of these other people out there, and it's like literally like their whole thing is just designed to like swindle people into following them. And it drives me crazy. It drives me absolutely crazy. And then to be told, oh, you're just trying to promote yourself. When I came in and pointed out that a certain strategy was stupid, would just, I just was like, are you kidding me? How are people so dumb? Don't understand that the problem with this? I just don't. And like, what do you do? It seems to me, I enjoy having this argument with people, but it seems to me like it's an argument that you can't actually win, because if somebody is taking on too much risk in their trade, they will tend to make money. And because they've made money, they're getting all of the signals in their brain that tells them, yes, this is good. Keep doing this thing, right? So it almost doesn't matter what you say to them or how logical or how much backing evidence you have. They're going to ignore it because they've been getting their reward from it, you know? And then by the time they figure out the real problem with it, it's too late. I don't know. I'm starting to wonder if it's just not possible to convince people. So then it's like, I guess you just got to do your own thing. I don't know. Do you stream every day? Well, not every day, but every weekday, yes. So if I'm trading, I'm streaming. Sometimes I'll stream like midday, but those are just like YOLO gambling. Market's doing this. It's so much easier to keep track of what the market is doing if you have a position in it. You know what I mean? Otherwise, you kind of miss stuff. So I don't know. That's kind of a double-edged sword. If I'm like looking at a new setup, it's best to not trade it and just look at that thing. But then you gotta have specific things that you're looking at, reading, okay, and keeping down on your notes and everything. But if you're just watching and you're not tracking that stuff, you're gonna miss so much. And so then it's better to have a position on or something like that. But almost always when I try and trade after the streaming session, it always ends up, it's usually pretty bad. So yeah, I just do like the first 3 hours. And like I said, it didn't start out like, we did it for a Futures IO contest. And I really thought that it was going to be like, I'll start this YouTube channel, I'll win the contest. We got like our Discord and everything, so that'll help. And then I'll get the thing and then nobody will ever give a crap about it again and it'll die. And that is not what happened. And now we're almost, we're 4,100. I never thought that I would have more than 100 subscribers. I really didn't. So, I don't know, man. Then here's the other thing that I think about. I'm starting to think about a lot more is that it's like, well, there's certain things you can do to make the channel a lot more popular, right? Like if you come in and you say, oh, I made $1,000, even if you didn't actually make it live, then people click on it just because it says that you made money. Like people on YouTube, like the human brain just can't help it or something. And then it's way more likely to get recommended. And that's how a lot of these guys have done as well as they have. A lot of the larger YouTube channels, because there's a lot of YouTube channels that started after me that are much, much larger, right? And that is the thing that I've noticed the most that they do. And I don't do that. My opinion is that you shouldn't make claims, because I might have done well at that time, but I don't always trade it live. I'll tell you right now in December, I've decided not to trade it live in December. But then even if you're doing well then, how do you know that you're going to do well next month? Right? Because past performance is not indicative of future results. And so I feel that getting all of your subscribers with clickbaity titles that make claims on certain profits is fundamentally dishonest. Right? So don't do it. But then I'm sitting here and I'm like, yeah, but what's happening is that people are being drawn to places where they're getting bad information now because of it. So I've seen other people that go and post stuff on Facebook groups and Reddit, things that I know to be false. Good example. On Reddit, they made a post that was like, here's a moving average crossover strategy that you can try. Buy when this moving average crosses over this one, sell when this moving average crosses over this one. So we went and we programmed it up and we showed that it doesn't work. Right? And it's just and so I made a video about it, and their post on the subreddit that posted got like 300 likes or something like that. And the post that I made that was a video going into the actual stats and details about it and showing you how to make it got like 2 likes. You know what I mean? Also, it's like, well, maybe I should do the clickbaity. So now it's like, how do you do the clickbaity things without doing something that's dishonest? Because I honestly, like, straight up believe that at some point, or at least I hope, that at some point that this will be regulated. That if you go in and you make a video that says like, and it has like a dollar amount on it, and you didn't actually trade it live, that you will get hit by the FTC or something. I think that's the way that it should be. Like if it wasn't live, that for sure it shouldn't be. But I also think that it should just not be illegal to post that, because past performance is not indicative of future results. So just by the very nature of it, it's misleading to people, because they immediately think, oh, he made $1,000 today, he can make $1,000 every day, and I can make $1,000 every day. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Seth has been streaming for years. I'm still waiting for the $300 course, but it never happened. So I've been working on a course, actually. Not a course that I think I'm going to sell, though. I don't know. When I first started it, I was like, I should just put this out and make it free. Now I'm starting to realize how long it's going to take me to write. Ooh, it's going to take a long time. So I'm not going to sell it on YouTube and make it like $600 and all that stuff, though. If I do that, what I will do is I will get it published. I'll turn it into a book and get the book published, right? So it's looking like it's going to be large enough that I could try and do that. Anyways, that was a fun rant. I had fun doing all that. You think that the E-mini is going to continue up or what? This is so slow. Oh, so you know what? Actually, this is a good time to talk about this. Don't hold your breath on that wishful thinking on what, that I'll finish the course. It's going to take a long time. It's probably going to take years to write it all. Because I just go down and I'm like, okay, here are the things that I know that I can write about. And a lot of it is like, here are things that I kind of know, but like to write it down in a book, I need to like verify some things and, you know, get some information. Like a lot of the stuff that I've been writing about is like, here are the different types of economic reports and the things that can happen. So yeah, it is going to take a long time. Okay, no, so let me show you something that I've been doing. So I go into, well, I'll show you. I'll pull this one up. Been doing something, and because I learned something that may be applicable to the current action. So when you come in here and you do your strategy analyzer. So for instance, where's the one that I've been testing? I need to change the, okay, so I have this breakout one, inventory breakout, 24,000. That's on one contract. Will it let me open it? Okay, here it is. So this one's pretty good. It has a Sharpe ratio of over 1, which I'm really proud of. Might be overfit. We haven't tried trading it live. This is the one that's running right now. That's long. Okay. Oh, Gary's talking about no one will regulate trades or sim once it's impossible to manage all the complaint. That's a good point. But I do think that there are a lot of people that are running what I would say outright scams through YouTube that are going to get hammered. And at some point, YouTube is going to have to do something about it. Anyways, I digress. So what you can do is you can come in here and you can go trades. Okay. So now here is every trade and all of the information about it. ME, MFE, how many bars you were in it and everything else like that. It's not going to show you them all to you in here because I think it has to load them up. So I'm just going to close it. But I took it when I did this last time and it is in an Excel spreadsheet. So I will open up the Excel spreadsheet now for you. It was this time 2-1. I did this with a bunch of different indicators. Okay, so here's all this information, right? And then what I did was I did something so that every time that it takes a trade or at certain parts of the trade, it will output information to the output window. So then I took that information and I copied it into a new page here in the spreadsheet. Okay, so here it has the name of the entry signal that we had. And I think that this was how many bars since the last trade that it took. Because I was worried, okay, is it doing a situation where it will take like a losing trade a bunch of times in a row? Turned out that, well, we'll go and look at the data and I'll show you, okay? And then what I do is I make a new column here, this time column right here, and I say, okay, do the VLOOKUP, use the entry name here. So K2, use the entry name, and then look over on these two columns. And then use the second column as the one with the values that you want, and 0 means it has to be an exact match. And then this part, this if NA part that's around it, is saying if you can't find it, then just put a blank in that spot. Right? So now that I have this spreadsheet, I saved the set for spreadsheet. I didn't change anything, so I don't know why it wants me to save it. So there's Excel. Okay. So then I was bringing it into R. So I'll pull up R Studio here. Okay. Okay, so there's just a couple of libraries here. This one is to read the Excel spreadsheet, and this one is to do a a distribution plot right here. So then I read the spreadsheet and I have to tell it what data types there are so that the ones that are numbers are correctly in there. And then I filter the data out. So I go through my data and I say, okay, give me all of the ones that are longs and put them in here, and all the ones that are short and put them in here. And then I say, okay, do a distribution, but do it on this bars or time. I have two sets here. Do it on these bars and color it based on whether it's profitable or unprofitable. Okay. So then if we run these, so run this part, actually this whole bit up here first. Okay. And then I'm going to do these two plots right here. And they'll pop up over here. Okay. How do I just do zoom? Here we go. Okay. So now you can see the distribution. Okay. So here are shorts. You notice that there are a lot of shorts that are failures that fail early on. Okay. Now, what we could try and filter those out, right? But if we do that, you filter out so many good trades too that I don't think that it ends up being worth it. You won't make more money at least. Okay. So those are shorts. But now let's look at longs. Okay. So similar sort of a thing, but in this case, the distribution is even more extreme. So you're likely to get stopped out at the first, but then the longer that you have it, the more likely you are, and there's a little bump right here, but generally the more likely you are for it to end up being profitable. So why do you think that is? Well, you would think about it, but I'll just tell you. Markets move down faster when it's a short, right? So if you've got a good long, you have to wait and be patient. And if you have a good short, it should go right away. So this thing that I was doing where it was like I'd get into a position and I'm like, okay, like I want to be seeing something immediately for me to get in, or I'm not going to hold on to it. Well, it turns out that if it's a long, you kind of have to be patient. So how is that relevant to what we're in right now? Well, it seems like it's going slow, but we have a little bit of profit baked in and it's moving up. Generally, that means that the statistics are good in our favor of it continuing to move up. We just need to be patient. Pretty cool, right? Now, I think that the issue with this sort of analysis is that you have a really high chance of like overfitting. Like you really need to see like a really extreme chart. Like it needs to be like almost all of these short trades are bad and all of these long trades, like if this long one was kind of more extreme. If the longs were like this, do it in black. If the longs were more like this, then we could say, yes, all of these trades, get rid of them. And all of these trades, do them. And because then that means that there really is a really strong correlation. But because they're all over in this area right here, getting rid of it doesn't help you and it might just create an overfit. So, but then you don't have to sit and ask, okay, does this thing help? Let me go and do a back test, see if it helps or not on the back test. No, what you can do instead is you can just set your initial setup and then have all of the things that it is that you want to look at, have them get output, put them into the spreadsheet, and then come over here into R and do the analysis on it. Pretty cool, right? So that's what I was doing this weekend. I'm sure that's really complicated, but I know R, it looks complicated, but R is actually, you can find examples and they'll show you exactly what it is that you want to do, so you don't have to understand R that well. Anyways, it was pretty fun doing that. Unfortunately, almost all of the things that I traded, I only found one thing that actually helped. That had a clear enough correlation to do something. And it was using the R squared. So, I don't know. A UK minister is speaking right now. Well, we've made 50. We've made R. We've made it equal to our. We've made equal to our stop here. 1R. This is a 2R trade though, so. That FOMO of the cash on the sidelines, says the market here. What do they got here for us? Oh, U.S. money market fund assets could decline by an additional $1 trillion to $2 trillion. Ooh. Oh. Yeah, that could move the markets up. Yeah. They're trading okay amounts up here. Now remind me, I have to quit a little bit early today. In fact, you know what? I can turn the laptop on right now. And that's pretty quiet here. Probably you guys all got bored when I started talking about R. All right, you know what? I'll be right back. Well, this trade is still going, so I'm gonna try and run it as long as we can. But I'm gonna go and take a break. We'll be right back. There we go. Did you see my wife come in and take the baby out? Oh, could go back and look now. We still got 45 minutes. Let's see here. Yeah. When are we trading water? Apparently not yet, because I couldn't get it to pop up. I'll try a little bit later. Maybe Rhythmic will send out a notice about it. But it didn't look like they had it on yet. Just do this and run this faster. Let's spoof. No, I'm not gonna spoof on the water markets. Now, yeah, you can see her, but it's nothing that interesting. She was in a bathrobe, but you can't see nothing. Oh, that's funny. Man, there's these robots that try really hard to spam my videos. Oh, I don't have it in that one. Oh. Somebody liked the mug, but I didn't have the link for it on that one. Okay. There we go. Oh, not quite a new high, but it's so close. There's a bunch of pivots up there. I guess, is that the price from the weekend? From Friday? Rather? Oh, no. They went way up beyond 3,700, didn't they? 36.95 or so is kind of where there was a lot of resistance. So I understand why they might be a little slow there. Okay, so there's that first pivot. Oh, there's Sugar Daddy again. Hey, you're becoming a daily feature now, man. Welcome back. It's been okay. You know what? I tried taking a trade in the treasury and focused mostly on that, and it didn't really work out. Probably if I had been a little bit more patient, I could have pulled something out of this, but it's just been really slow grind in the treasuries. And then we've been watching this the robot trade. So my robot took this one right here. So we've been watching this, hoping that it gets up to 36.98 before we close here. But how did you know? It's okay. It's feeling kind of weird today. I don't know why. I can kind of feel it. But whatever. I think it healed right. I think I was a little too paranoid about, bumping it and everything, because I don't think that it affects it. I'd have to hit it really hard to affect it. So I'm probably going to start working out today and start getting back into it, because my legs are starting to get restless. And I don't sleep as well without the... Yeah. Oh, now that's an interesting... This Thursday, the FDA will let one of the vaccine makers, if they are go. How do you know that it's Thursday? Well, I'm expecting it this week. Well, the Brexit thing is not going very well, but between the vaccine and stimulus, although it sounds like from the most recent information that we won't really get much more about stimulus until next week, but... next week is some Moderna. Yeah, and the thing is that the market reacts to the vaccine news. And now, it might be the case that once a vaccine is finally approved, that ends up being a sell, buy the rumor, sell the news kind of event. Like, now it's all priced in or something. But I find it really hard to short this market as long as that's kind of hanging out there, don't you think? What's with the volatility today? I don't know. It might just be that there's a lot more news later in this week. Let's see here. Let's come to the Forex Factory calendar and look at this week. Non-farm productivity tomorrow. 10-year bond, 30-year bond, CPI, PPI. Do you trail your stops? Not usually, no. I'm sure that there are ways and strategies where trailing your stop helps a lot. But for the strategies that I do, every time that I've done any kind of back test on it, trailing the stop reduced my overall profits. So I don't do it. It was in the news, the stimulus is close, they will do it before they break. Yeah, well, so did you hear the thing that we were hearing was that before they expected all this stuff to be done by the end of the week, but now they're looking at it. They got this stimulus. They think it's going to be $900,000. They don't think that they can pass it on its own, that it's going to have to be put into the omnibus bill. And so it sounds like what's going to happen is they're going to pass a continuing resolution to give them another week. And then that most of the news about this particular issue will occur next week. But you're right that they will do it before they break. It's certainly before the end of the year, right? And it wouldn't surprise me if there's some drama and then it gets pushed back even 2 weeks. But you know how that goes. I'm already hearing complaints about it, right? Like, there's a bunch of people that don't want it because it doesn't include direct payments. Some people that are just going to oppose it no matter what. And people on both sides of the aisle that are going to oppose it no matter what. So, I don't know. Okay, so we got a couple of good down bars there. That's just bringing us back to, was it 9? This is where, so one of the things that I tried doing was break even. Like, okay, we got 16 ticks, so let's move our stop to break even. And it was terrible. Does trailing lower risk? Well, yes, but the thing you got to remember is that lower risk generally means lower probability, right? So what ends up happening is you trail the risk. So yes, you break even, but more of your trades are going to fail. And especially this kind of a strategy, I don't know what it is. This one doesn't actually pick up the momentum as strongly as I think you would like. This seems like, you should be able to buy it and just hold it all day and it'll just go and go and go. But the backtest result on this past year, at the very least, says that like I can get 2R and that's it. And like anything that I try and do to change that, it doesn't work. Which I guess actually, when I look at the thinking behind the strategy, makes sense because I'm taking it in an area that is contested. It is basically, I'm taking it when the buyer at the buyer's cost basis or seller's cost basis. So like I'm basically waiting for them to come below the buyer's cost basis and then see some sort of an impulse pushing them up to get it back above it. And so you should expect that there's going to be some fight in that area. But historically speaking, when you get that, they are going to push it higher in the end. There's another trade that I have that's the mirror of it that is for the range that just takes it between the buyer and seller spots. But that one we need to work on a little bit more before I can say much more about that one. Other than that it appears to work better, but I haven't done all the analysis on it yet, so I've got to wait. And to do all the analysis, make sure that the two trades are separated from each other enough, and then try and combine them together into one strategy and see what it does. And hopefully that should give me a really good, the two of those combined should give me a really good profit factor. Now, on the trailing your stop thing, Ace, he trails his stop. He'll take one contract, he'll take the profit, and then the last one, he'll move his stop to break even, and then he'll kind of trail it. And he has a lot of success with that. And I don't know how he does it. Because again, whenever I've tried doing that sort of a thing, like backtesting wise, it doesn't work. But for him, it's worked really, really well. And we've watched him on some days catch really good winners because of it. And that's where he's able to get as big as he has. It's largely from the runners. Yeah, so things average out on the big winners. Well, I wish I was as good as you make me sound. Well, I'm gonna bet that the past few weeks that trade has kind of been so for Ace. Just because I know what kind of action it does well in and what kind of action it doesn't do well in, right? A day like today, it can be really hard. I think you probably would have been able to pull it out, right? But you're not getting a runner today, right? Yeah. I need to do some more investigation on it because I want to try and apply daily filters on it, and I want to try and apply R squared on it. All the vaccine makers have millions of doses ready to deploy once the emergency FDA approval is done. I think he trails according to what the market tells him. Yeah, but what is that? I like if we could like sit down and figure out what that is. He just needs to come over. We're going to get the vaccinations going to come out. So he has members of his family that are extremely vulnerable. We need to get that taken care of. They can come down. Kids can play in the basement, and we'll look at the strategy, and he can explain maybe how he tries to let it run. No runners in so choppy, just need to, yeah, it really is. I knowing what I know, I should have traded it way differently in the treasury, shouldn't I? But I think that the issue that I had was that it was like, I was positioned short. I didn't get really what I wanted on the short side. I should have scratched it when it came back up into 20 and maybe tried to go long. And if I had done that, then I should have just pulled up my bid to 19, and I could have pulled, maybe 3 or 4 ticks out of the market. And that's what I used to be able to expect, Put him on. Yeah, he still hasn't figured out the Discord thing. Or we would get him in. You come over, we could make videos or something. I would, one of the things that we were working on before the pandemic happened was anytime that I found a trader that was local to me, I was like putting them in a group and everything. And so I was hoping to have like regular meetups, like on the weekends at my house or something like that. And we could maybe make videos about that. But then the pandemic happened, and it was like, well, ain't nobody getting together anytime soon. Either way, the buyers dug out of that pretty okay. No desire to get put under a microscope. No. I mostly just want to show you how I wrote it. Because I think what's going to happen is you're going to look at the code and you're going to be like, okay, but we should do this and this and this, whatever. Because it's everything. Like, the funny thing is that like it's a moving average strategy, right? So you know just based off of that on average, the chop is gonna not really make all that much, but then when you do catch a trend, you're gonna catch the very start of it, and it's just gonna go and go and go. So that he's totally playing it right. I just don't know how he knows how to trail it and how he does that. And then you guys can get married in the basement now. Gary Riches, like you're inside my head. No. I'm gonna look at the code and have no clue. No, it'll totally make sense. I'd be like, it's when this is this and this is this, and you'll know all of the qualifications. And then I'll show you the other things that I did on it that made it a little bit better. But the problem that I have right now with it, with Robot Ace, is that I found a way that really improves the probability and chance for it to run, but it doesn't take enough trades. So like this thing maybe takes 1 or 2 trades a day, and I'll see A's take like 4 trades. And so it's like, it needs work, I think. Seth has some high definition cameras to make you insecure about yours. We'll have a tea party and sing "We Are a Little Tea Party." Oh my gosh, that's okay. we can turn it into like, you know, what is it, what is that freaking party that the rich people have out in the woods? You're kind of making it sound like one of those things. I can picture it now. We'll have like a big grove out up in Park City somewhere, and a bunch of day traders singing "I'm a Little Teapot" in a meadow somewhere. I can picture it all now. Goals. Fire Fest. Oh my gosh. If you guys haven't seen there's 2 documentaries about Fire Festival, spelled Fyre. And if you have not seen those as a trader, you have to go see those. Because I think that when it really comes down to it, this is the part of human psychology that makes trading so difficult. And when you look at Fire Festival and you see how that progressed and all of the warning signs and everything, it's just kind of like, man, how did they get away with this stuff? And yet here in the stock market, we see people like gurus and stuff doing it all the time. It's a big part. It's a big part of markets. Go watch it. It's fun. Oh, you know what's another one is what is it? It's a documentary on the guy that invented hot yoga. Birkin whatever. That's on Netflix. That was so good too. Rich Lather Daddy? Leather? Oh, okay. Why not both? No, I wanted to just do like things initially at the library. Initially, I was like, oh, we'll rent a room out at the library. We can give presentations or talk about strategies. And, you know, we can go through it. But then I got a smoker, and then I'm like, well, we can get a brisket. And yeah, for the record, not that there is anything wrong with that, but neither of us are gay. Yeah, no, we're both married. We're not. No, listen, it's just that we're very secure in our masculinity and aren't afraid to be, you know, close to other men, but nothing gay. It's just, you know, all sit down on a couch and watch a movie together sort of a thing, you know? That's okay. Best bros. Everybody needs that. Guys, not enough guys have that. You know what the I'm noticing? I keep seeing these things where it's like there's a certain point at which the suicide rate for men skyrockets, and it's about the time that they realize how expendable they are. Like, you know, like those early college years where girls don't really give a crap about you, and it's like unless you're making money, then the society doesn't really value you a whole lot, and a lot of guys realize like, oh, I'm not making money, I'm never going to amount to anything. That's when you really need to get people in. And I'm hoping, one of the things that I'm hoping if we are able to start doing trading events like that is that we'll get like the 20-year-old kids. Because, man, if you can start trading when you're 20 and you can actually talk to people that have been doing it a while and don't necessarily have to be masters of the markets, but at least know what's going on, that can just give you a huge leg up. I see a lot of kids trading on Robinhood, and I find it so painful because I'm like, maybe they could be a good trader, but they're on Robinhood, you know? Maybe go to the Utah Badlands and find Bigfoot or alien ship and get probed. Probe the brain, not the other dirty thinkers. Oh man, what happened to the UFO stuff? Has there been any? I thought we were supposed to learn that there was really aliens. Remember? And Donald Trump was going to put it all out and everything. And now where's the alien stuff? Oh, look, the Treasury made another new high. I bet you. I've seen this in the Treasury. So here's what I think is going to happen in the Treasury. It's going to keep going up until it seems like, oh man, like this is just going to keep going. And we're going to give up on it and we're going to go. And then after I'm gone, they're just going to totally fall apart. No aliens, no, but you don't know that. Come on. We can be, what is the word? Agnostic on things, you know. I'm agnostic on Bigfoot. There you go. Don't you think that it's unusual that there aren't North American apes? I mean, come on, man. What happened to them all? Unless they're us. Maybe we're the great North American ape. You know, there's some archaeological evidence to suggest that there were actually humans in North America before there was in Europe. Thought that was interesting. No reason to think they exist. No, that's not true. There's no reason to think that they exist. Because how do I put it? If you always automatically assumed that it was not true, anytime that you thought that there was no reason for something to exist, then you would never make new discoveries, right? I think that often the way that new discoveries happen is somebody says, well, even though I've never seen anything like this, it would make sense that something like this could exist. And so then they go out looking for it and they find it. Right. Like with a trade. It's like, well, I'm not, I don't know if there's actually a profitable trade having to do with this particular setup, but it makes sense to me that there could be. So I'll go and write the strategy up and see what it does. I don't think that you tell people that it exists until it does, but you can talk about it and speculate, right? That's the whole purpose of speculation, right? Is to theorize about things that you don't have a precise knowledge of. Fed bids for 6-month bills total $4.4 billion. Well, I guess that's why they're moving up, right? North American apes were gay, so they can reproduce. No. So they've found like skeletons and archaeological evidence in North America in particular that when they date it, at least, that it is like way earlier than they thought. And so there is this theory that humans initially actually evolved in North America, and then they crossed over the strait into Europe, but then they didn't really become like humans until they made it over to Africa, and then that's when you got humans. But then there's all this other stuff about like, oh man, now we're getting into the point where it's like conspiratorial, because there's a lot of weird things around geological and archaeological findings that they've made around the Dryad period. So there was this period where the earth heated up very, very quickly towards the end of the Ice Age. And based on, well, like for instance, all of the lakes that you have up in Canada, there's some places where they think that there was a glacier holding back a lake, and then the glacier broke and the lake just, flooded out that area. Hence, that's where you get stories like Noah's Ark. They think that that's where Noah's Ark came from, right? But when you go back and you look at what that period is, it's like way further back than anybody ever thought that humans have been around. Like that they say that humans have only been around for like 10,000 years, and this was like 16,000 years ago. So then the argument is that humans did exist before that and might have actually been fairly advanced, but everything that we know about them basically got washed away. Plausible. But then when you look at the people that really believe this stuff, they start to get into things that are just straight up conspiratorial, right? Like that archaeologists intentionally ignore evidence about this and stuff. And I think part of the reason why that is and why it becomes controversial then is because then it kind of turns into like stuff to do with the Bible and stuff. Are you a fan of Graham? I've never heard of him. Actually, the only reason that I know about this stuff is because, well, there's two places. One, there's this guy. Oh, this is so interesting. There's this guy on YouTube that has a theory that Atlantis was actually in Western Africa. And like when you look at the evidence that he presents and everything, I think he has a really solid theory. I'm really surprised that there hasn't been more investigation into this. But that's the first place. And so he kind of talks about a lot of that sort of stuff. But then when you watch him, he starts going into that sort of a thing. And then there's some guys on TikTok that I see from time to time that talk about that sort of stuff. Yeah, the Bible is the worst book in the world to get your earth science from. Yeah. But I think the reason why a lot of the people that are attracted to those theories are attracted to them is because they believe that what they're finding backs up things in the Bible that have been hotly contested, like Noah's Ark, for instance. And so you kind of get a situation where these people are finding interesting archaeological things that actually are interesting and that we don't really know what the deal is with them, but you kind of got the wrong person interested in it. You know what I mean? Why would you take anything from that back series? Well, because it's been passed down through humankind for generations. Even if you didn't believe anything that it says, it's an extremely important work to read to understand modern culture, right? And I don't think that everything in there came out of nowhere, right? Came from somewhere. Well, so was Homer. Well, Homer is also another thing that's critical to read to understand modern culture, isn't it? And then probably the stories in Homer probably didn't just come out of nowhere, right? Probably with a lot of the Greek gods, there probably was a king at some time that really was named Zeus or whatever, that people held up to be a god, but he was really just the king. And then the stories kind of get exaggerated over time. And by the time somebody writes it down, people made up what I just said was that there's probably a lot made up, but that there was probably something that really did happen that was the original inspiration for it. Just like with the Bible. Well, so that one's interesting because I don't think that we have direct evidence that the Israelites were ever in Egypt, but there are 80K versions of the Bible. Well, that's a complicated subject, isn't there? Because did you know that the Christians in Ethiopia, it's been a thing there for a long time, and they have a Bible, but they have more Bible books than other people do, right? Because what happened was the Catholics and whatnot would get together and they would say, well, there's something in this book that we think disagrees with what we believe in, so they got rid of it. But the people in Ethiopia didn't. The people in Ethiopia basically, at least according to what we understand, have the same books through this whole time. And then there's some situations where they found places that Christians were at that so they can see what Christians were looking at like 100 years, like literally 100 years after Christ's death, and finding that it was totally a thing. It's interesting. It really is. So when you start getting down into like, so what kind of archaeological or historical evidence could you have that might support things in the Bible? It's kind of like, well, because it happened so long ago, you're never going to get like a definitive, this is exactly how it happened, and what everything that was in this story is exact. Probably not, right? I mean, there'd be no way to prove it, right? But they can go back and they can show things that like, okay, like there is this correlation here. It's kind of interesting and stuff like that. But there's lots of things that can be true that you're not going to have evidence for, at least not at the time. Time to believe is when there is evidence, maybe. So this goes back to my argument. My argument here is there are tactical times where it is advantageous to you to believe in something without the direct evidence of it, because human belief can cause action regardless. So sometimes, Donald Trump being a great example. Of course, you can see the downsides of it now because they don't believe that he lost the election. But he would not have gotten as far as he did if his fans didn't have an unwavering faith in his ability, right? And because of that, they won an election. When is it a good time to believe that something is false? So I think that it's when that thing being true or false has a direct impact on you or a decision that you have to make, right? So if I'm going to take a trade and if I lose on that trade, then I lose money, then it is unreasonable for me to believe that a certain trading strategy is profitable without having direct evidence of it, right? Because I lose money if it's not true, right? But thinking that politician X can win the election, does that harm you if you believe it? Even though you don't really know for sure if it's going to happen or not, right? Like there's always going to be situations where there are certain things that you can't know. You arrived in an interesting, yeah, it's kind of interesting. I actually got to get going, but I'm glad to see you win. But we got like a special project going on over at work, and they're doing the meeting over at 9:30, so I got to get going. What do we say about today? Not much. It's a pretty quiet day. We didn't really say a whole lot about Kodak. Man, this is hard. Oh, I didn't say that you have to believe the Bible, but I wasn't trying to convince you to believe the Bible. I was only trying to convince you that there might be some things in it that might be true and might be interesting or useful to understanding people, if we were to actually know where they came from. I'm just gonna call it Slow Monday. Why would that would be dumb. We could talk about Kodak, but we didn't say anything that would be clickbaity, wouldn't it? Slow Monday, as markets await stimulus. Yeah, there probably are some phone numbers that are wrong. Oh, anyways. Okay, I got to get going. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Stay profitable, friends.